The White House says it's looking for some administrative fix. Of course, no one can identify anything the president could do administratively to keep his pledge that would be both legal and effective.
Legal. How about that? House Republicans calling out the president for unilaterally delaying requirements for insurance plans under Obamacare. So did he overstep his authority when he decided to go around Congress yet again? Senator John Barrasso, chairman of the Senate Republican Policy Committee, joins us. Senator, good to talk to you. The Affordable Care Act dictates a very specific, hard date for the start of it. And in fact, for our viewers, let's put it up on the screen. Section 1513, effective date. The amendments made by this section shall, and that's my emphasis, shall apply to months beginning after December 31st, 2013. And the key word there is shall. It's mandatory. There's no choice, no discretion. So does it seem to you that the president is either acting illegally or abusing his power by unilaterally changing a law that you in Congress passed?
Well, I don't think what the president is doing is legal, but he's done this before. He's done this with special breaks for unions. He's done this in a way that he said, hey, let's ignore the employer mandate. He's done it in terms of verifying income before sending out subsidies to people to buy insurance under his plan. So this is part of the way the president operates. My bigger concern are these 4 million people who have gotten letters losing their coverage. And I think what the president proposes isn't going to be effective either. Yeah. This is just a political Band-Aid. It's not a long-term cure for the problems that we have under this health care law, which is bad for patients all across the country, terrible for taxpayers, and it's not good for the nurses and doctors who take care of those patients either, Greg.
So is he just delaying the inevitable for a year to appease the millions of Americans who are angry, but also appease the revolt that seems to be gaining steam among his own party?
Well, you're right, Greg. There's high anxiety and panic among Democrats in Congress because they're getting the same letters from folks back home as I'm getting. I'm heading to Wyoming after we visit today so I can talk with farmers and ranchers there. I'm going to speak at the Chamber of Commerce in Lusk, Wyoming tomorrow night. And I know Democrats are hearing from folks at home who've had their policies canceled. These were good insurance policies that worked for those people. I got a letter from a woman, a rancher, and her policy was canceled because it didn't include maternity coverage. Well, Greg, she's had a hysterectomy. She's finished with her family. Her policy is a good policy. It worked for her, and now it's not good enough according to the president's law. And that's why there's this revolt among all of Americans who are concerned about their own health, their own care, and what it's going to cost.
And amazingly, Senator, yesterday in the news conference, the president was asked directly, and he said, no, I can't assure Americans that the site is going to be up and working in 2 weeks effectively. And then on top of that, of course, you got a whole bunch of insurance carriers and insurance commissioners who are balking at the president's proposal. You've got millions of people getting cancellations. Others are seeing their premiums double, their deductibles triple. Is this law, in your judgment, and you're also a doctor, is this law unraveling?
The law is unraveling. I believe it's fatally flawed, but that's why I went to the Senate floor every week since this has passed with a doctor's second opinion about the impact of this law on families all across the country, on their health care costs, because the website is just the tip of the iceberg. You're right, there are cancellations of policies. There's the premium shock of people having to pay higher and higher. There's higher deductibles, higher copays. The whole issue of fraud in terms of identity theft under this health care law. I believe it's going to continue to unravel, and we ought to really have a replacement in a way that's a step-by-step process, not a 2,700-page law that is what we have now. People knew what they wanted in health care reform. Yeah. They wanted to get the care they need from a doctor they choose at lower costs. And what we have is a one-size one-size-fits-all government approach, which is why yesterday I introduced legislation called the State Health Care Choice Act to allow individual states to make more and more decisions and opt out of different parts of the health care law.
We will take a look at that. Senator John Barrasso, thank you so much for taking a few moments.
Thanks for having me.